11 years ago, in Game of Thrones, the biggest show on the planet at the time, a new hero appeared, confident, vengeful, and irresistible, Oberyn Martell. He was played by Pedro Pascal, once an unlucky actor who spent 15 years taking only minor roles in crime dramas. He suddenly became a rising star. Since then, Pascal has appeared in the Star Wars franchise, the adaptation of the game The Last of Us, joined the Marvel Cinematic Universe, and starred in blockbuster films. He also became a meme icon and a fan favorite. What was Pedro Pascal's path to fame? Why did he often play villains early in his career? How does he bring characters to life with his voice? And why do audiences love him so much? Let's find out. Childhood and youth. Jose Pedro Balmaceda. Pascal was born in Chile in 1975. His mother, Veronica, was a child psychologist, and his father, Jose, was a reproductive doctor. Soon after his birth, Pedro's family emigrated to the United States, escaping the dictatorship of Augusto Pinochet. As a child, Pedro was interested in swimming, but even more fascinated by cinema. He admired the acting of Gene Hackman, was inspired by Christian Bale, who became a star early, and was so captivated by the Indiana Jones films that he broke his arm twice trying to replicate the stunts of the iconic adventurer. As he grew older, Pedro began studying acting, performing in theater, and attending auditions. But due to stereotypes about Latin Americans, he was often offered only criminal roles. Career beginnings. When Pedro was 24, his mother Veronica tragically took her own life. This sudden tragedy did not break him. In her honor, he kept the surname Pascal and threw himself into work to cope with the grief. At first, he tried going by Alexander, thinking American audiences might struggle with Pedro, but quickly abandoned the idea. His struggle for recognition lasted over 15 years. Pascal worked as a waiter and got only small typecast roles on television. In 2011, he got a chance to shine, playing a detective in Wonder Woman. However, the pilot never aired because NBC executives considered it unsuccessful. Pascal was devastated. Approaching 40, his most notable roles were brief appearances in Buffy the Vampire Slayer, The Good Wife, and The Mentalist. But in 2014, everything changed. Oberyn Martell in Game of Thrones. The showrunners were looking for an actor to play Prince Oberyn Martell, who seeks revenge on the Lannisters for his sister's murder. The candidate had to have physical strength, charisma, and sexual energy, and convey the character's depth, his audacity, sensuality, rage, and charm. Pedro Pascal fit all these criteria perfectly and added a unique accent, inspired by his father's speech. Although Oberyn appeared in only a few episodes, his duel with the Mountain became one of the series' most memorable moments. Fans grew attached to the complex character, and his painful death was a real shock. Pascal's first major success came relatively late, at 39 years old. He was so thrilled by the wave of popularity that he accepted any fan requests. Big screen and Narcos. In the mid-2010s, Pedro debuted in major films. The fantasy epic The Great Wall was criticized for weak storytelling, and The Equalizer 2 for secondary stereotypical antagonists. But the crime series Narcos on Netflix became a hit. Pascal played the real-life agent Javier Peña hunting Pablo Escobar. He met his character's real-life counterpart and trained with DEA agents. His character, a lonely, obsessed man who bends the law to catch criminals but ultimately realizes the limits of his power. Pascal acted not only in English but also in his native Spanish, bringing lifelike traits to his character. The Mandalorian. In The Mandalorian, he had to rely almost entirely on his voice. His character, bounty hunter Din Djarin, honors tradition and never removes his helmet. Pascal compared Din to the silent, tough Clint Eastwood. Din cares for the small, curious Grogu, and their interactions are especially touching. The Last of Us. In the adaptation of the iconic game, Pedro played Joel Sibasol, a man hardened by his daughter's death, surviving in a bleak, post-apocalyptic world. He conveys Joel's state through body language, stiffness, heavy steps, clenched fists, and his voice, low, raspy, and broken. Troy Baker, who voiced Joel in the game, noted that Pascal brought vulnerability to the character, which the original lacked. Pedro Pascal's distinctive traits. It seems that sensitivity defines Pascal as both actor and person. He can make audiences fall in love with heroes who might seem one-dimensional in other actors' hands. His acting is usually restrained, with subtle expressions or voice conveying emotions. But if the role requires it, he is unafraid to be funny or highly emotional. Pedro loves humor, so it's no surprise he often appears in comedies or adds comic elements even in serious projects. Today, in recent years, Pascal has become arguably one of Hollywood's top stars. Charisma, naturalness, and playfulness turn his interviews into viral memes. He recently turned 50 and admits age affects his physical condition. Sometimes he experiences anxiety in public and copes by placing his hand on his chest or asking colleagues to hold his hand. Though he has no children of his own, he delivers especially moving portrayals of fathers on screen. Fans even call him Hollywood's favorite dad. Pascal's career spans over 25 years, and while he has conquered television and the internet, his breakthrough in film is still awaited. However, 2025 could be Pascal's year. Following the melodrama Materialistic comes the comedic western Eddington, directed by horror master Ari Aster, and a superhero Fantastic Four reboot. Regardless of future successes, Pedro Pascal has already become a symbol that dreams, no matter how distant, can come true at any age and completely transform a life.